You, Mason, you have your own psychic ability in you.
You hear that, guys? I'm psychic. I'm just joking.
You can pull any 3 cards from here.
I know this is like super random. I feel like it's kind of random, but I trust you, Letao.
Absolutely, let's see.
Back here.
For you.
This one here.
Okay. So the first card you pulled out is called 6 of Swords.
What's going on, guys? This is your boy Mace from Self-Made Athletes, and today we have a very special video lined up. I am gonna go to a friend's place and we're gonna talk a little bit more about mental health. And I know in this video we talk a lot about gym stuff, how to get physically strong, but today I really want to focus on how can we get strong mentally, spiritually, emotionally, so that we can get ourselves ready to hit the gym. In this area, it's called Star Precinct or Star Street area. It's got a lot of cool little bars, cafes, and I'm super excited to just check out the neighborhood before we go see my friend. So let's go. I am here with a good friend and F45 client, Letao, and you know, Letao does a lot of studying and he professionalizes in spiritual counseling. I was hoping, Letao, you could share some insight on how those spectrums of a person could impact their overall health. So maybe you can introduce yourself very briefly and then let's get into it.
Sure. Alright, so hello everyone. My name is Letao, and I've been a spiritual counselor for the past 8 years. Currently I'm located in Hong Kong, and on a daily basis I see clients and I answer their questions, and these questions are related to anything. Sometimes clients come to me, talk about their relationship issues, they have questions about their career development, or sometimes relocation, since Hong Kong is a very transitional place. To me, I think definitely mental health and spiritual health is very, very important. To me, it's a little bit like the yin and yang, compared to when we talk about our physical health. Eating healthily, training, things like that. And together with that, and that's our mental health and emotional health. Because we have seen a lot of people, sometimes they are focusing on one of them, and thus they lose a little bit balance. So when they are really dealing with a lot of the issues in life, because it's almost like there's a lack of one aspect in their life, and so they tend to make either make wrong decisions, or they can get very confused about things. So having a regular spiritual practice, actually, such as doing yoga or meditation, things like that are very, very important for us to balance.
That's super cool, because you mentioned a few things there, and I kind of want to just pick your brain at it. When it comes to spirituality or just kind of like supernatural stuff, a lot of people think of psychics.
Yeah.
And so before we can talk about how this helps mental health, could you kind of tie the knot in the relationship between psyche and like supernatural things and spirituality and stuff like that?
Yeah. So I feel that a lot of people, when they look at, for example, people who are in this field, either you call that New Age or you call that, spiritual things. Yeah. I feel it's a little bit, misunderstood sometimes in the society. I feel one of the things that we do have to do these days is to first of all, acknowledge that everyone is intuitive, and we all have our so-called psychic ability actually in us. So this is not something that only small amount of people in the society has. You, Mason, you have your own psychic ability in you. You have your strong intuition when it comes to making decisions and looking at certain situations. What's your gut feeling? Bit like that. So this is something that we all have. And when we do a reading session, and basically what we do is to help the clients to discover that part of them, and to help them to reconnect their physical body and their higher consciousness. And so that's what this whole thing is. That's the foundation, basically.
Hear that, guys? I'm psychic. I'm just joking. No, that's super interesting to hear. And you also mentioned a lot of clients come in and they probably ask you for some kind of reading on love, life, careers. But we're going to try to focus a little bit more on the health side. So how does the reading help them in that transition? Or for someone like me, I go to the gym a lot, and the purpose of the gym for me is two things. One, to get physically strong. And then two, to mentally train my mind so that I can push through bodily plateaus.
Absolutely,
the mind is only or the body is only as strong as your mind, as some people like to say. So how have you helped some clients who might have been struggling in that aspect?
This is a very individual thing actually, because everyone has different goals, and everyone they find their own happiness through different channels. And we all have different things that we must work on. We need to improve, or we need to let go. There are certain things, and it's different for everyone. So Mason, for you, earlier I had the opportunity to get Mason's birth, and earlier I just quickly had to look at his astrological alignment when he was born. See, one of the things actually that will give you a lot of fulfillment is talking about tenacity. Your perseverance and goal-oriented. You set a goal in front of you and be like, okay, I don't care about how emotional I am on that day, I'm gonna get things done. That kind of attitude about discipline, things like that. So that kind of things is actually based on your birth. That's very, very important, and that will give you a sense of fulfillment. So for clients, with this kind of star alignment, so this is the path that we try to lead them towards, and we try to encourage them to give it a go, give it a try. But for certain people, maybe they're opposite of you. What they need to do is they have been trying to push themselves so hard that they need to know how to bring their own sense of compassion, self-compassion, and self-love to them. We have seen certain people coming to me, and maybe they're professional athletes. They have been pushing their own limits, and also they feel they're very insecure to let people know that they have vulnerability. So even though they are hurt, they are traumatized by certain things, they can't release their emotion. They can't tell people what they're going through, because they feel once they let people know that, it shows that they're vulnerable, and that's not okay. And so for those people, we're doing the opposite of when I'm looking at your birth chart. We're telling them it's okay to actually show your vulnerability. It's okay to let people know that things are hard. And it's okay to cry, things like that. So everyone has different paths, and so through doing spiritual counseling, we are trying to give, not really tell clients what to do, but we're exploring the options for them and be like, okay, if you have been feeling like this in a negative way, what about exploring something more positive on the other side of the spectrum?
No, that's really good, because something that I preach, I didn't know this when I first started at the gym, right? It's always about going hard, going heavy, and kind of like showing off. And over the last, I don't know, 5, 6, maybe 7 years, it's really relearning that curve. And it's really easy to say for someone to drop their ego at the gym door. Got someone who's kind of buff. I'm not gonna say I'm buff. Okay, I'm just trying to say that for someone who has worked out, I've worked out for 10 years. In the first 5 years, I didn't really know what I was doing. And for you to tell someone it's okay to be vulnerable, it's a very hard to swallow, right?
Of course.
And so I think it's the same thing no matter where you are, whether it's in or outside of the gym. It's okay to show some kind of vulnerability and just restarting, trying to reconnect and understand where you need to go before actually going to that destination. Awesome.
So I think a lot of the counseling, that we do, when we look at the chart, sometimes when we pull cards for clients and they reviews, because the reason why certain, the cards can tell us things is because when we draw the cards, our higher consciousness is working. with us together, and that's how we get the answers. Yeah.
And so I know we're going into kind of like the reading side of things.
Yeah.
When we draw cards, and I know that you specialize in kind of quite a few different things. So you have astrology, you have numerology, you also have tarot readings. And I'm just gonna zone in on tarot reading first.
Sure.
When you draw cards, that kind of gives yourself as well as your client a kind of guide, right? A guidance into how to read it. What does that guidance do? Is it just for their curiosity to know, or is it something that they should live by? Like, oh, now that I know this, is this the new this the new norm for me? So how does that all work?
All right. So first of all, at the end of the card, they are just a channel, right? So there's just a channel, and so when we look at the cards, when we're drawing cards, usually it's because we have something that we're looking for. There has been a few clients who come to our spiritual counseling session purely because they're curious, and they don't really have any issues. But I would say 80 to 90% of my clients, they come here because they have a question in mind. They're confused, or they're baffled by something, and they desperately need an answer. So when we are pulling the cards out, we're actually seeing what their subconscious is trying to tell them. Because when they pull the card, they can't see the cards.
So
you can only see the back side.
Is that by luck then, or is there actually what's the percentage of me pulling this card and this card? It's going to give me a completely different.
Here's the thing. This is the fundamental theory actually about spirituality. It's called as above, so below. Meaning that what is actually happening in the universe, in the galaxy, and we're looking at what's happening on Earth with us, there's a synchronicity in there. So when we're drawing cards and we're looking for guidance from a higher consciousness, saying that please let me know what's the right thing to do for me, what's the right choice that I have to make. When we're doing that, the universe is connected with us, and that's the whole theory about spiritual counseling actually. So when we pull in the cards, we know that our higher consciousness has a message to deliver to us. And then when you look at the message, we're not saying you must follow that. We're saying that again, it's a little bit like the universe is giving you a message. So then it's up to you how you want to work with that. So maybe that could be image, or that message will help you to expand your view, give you more choices, or help you to reflect on things that you were resisting. It's a little bit like that.
Guys, this is totally in line with what we preach at the gym, or at least for me anyways. As the personal trainer, we always give guidance to our client, and it's up to them to decide whether they can kind of take that and move forward. It's really easy for me to tell you, okay, you need to eat X amount of protein and this much of carbs and stuff, and then you'll get the result that you want. But it's actually up to you as a client to actually see if you can follow through, and maybe that guidance wasn't good enough for you as an individual, right? Like there's maybe certain things that you can't eat, or certain weights or movements that you can't do. And so it's very personalized to each individual. And I like how you said how the universe is connected to us. So a lot of times, you feel so small. You feel like a dot in the spectrum, and it's like what's going on around me is probably not going to affect anything else. But when you say it like that, it's like some small actions that you do today can definitely have a ripple effect.
Absolutely, everything. I think everything is connected in a certain way. And when we look at history, right? Let's reflect on what has been happening in 2021. When you look at what is happening actually out there and what's happening in our human society, you get a clear reflection actually in there. For example, this year, a lot of people, they think this year is tough. Maybe to a certain extent it's tougher than last year, 2021. And it's very funny because back in January, when we had the new year, January the 1st, everyone was like, oh yeah, COVID-19 was last year, this year everything's gonna be fine. And as astrologers, when we look at the star alignment, I'm thinking this is not done. It's so not done. And then because this year we have a very big square, which is the conflict between Uranus and Saturn, right? And that square is was in January, February. And then in June, that's the second square. And then the next one is going to be November, December each. So this year we have 3 squares happening. And the first square, we can see in the human society what's happening. The rioters broke into the White House, which never happened in U.S. history, and Myanmar, okay, via the coup d'etat, and a lot of people died and things like that. So that's the sort of the conflict between Uranus and Saturn. And then in June, we had a lot of things happening as well. It was definitely a chaotic time. And then we have got another square coming to us, which is around November time. So this is sometimes when we look at the movement of the stars and we know, okay, then what we need to learn our lessons, especially when we have a Uranus and Saturn, because Saturn is all about learning lessons. Until the lesson is learned, we're going to repeat our patterns. So a little bit like that. So so a little bit like that. So Uranus was about the public opinion. It's about democracy. It's about uniqueness. It's about what everyone wants. But Saturn is about tradition. So that's why when we see what happened actually in January, it's a clash between the tradition, what has been done always, this way, and what's now what young people want. So a little bit like that.
Okay.
It's very interesting.
No, that's super cool to know, and we're actually gonna deep dive into a quick reading. And before we get into that, can you explain a little bit about the different types of readings you do? So you do a little bit of tarot, and that's card based.
And
I see you have some beautiful ornaments in the background.
Oh, thank you.
Rocks, things like that. And I did a little bit of research myself. Gotta come prepared. But I know each rock kind of signifies something, and it helps people when they meditate, when they do yoga. They they set it up, or just like you have here. If you can explain kind of how that helps the journey for spirituality, or just getting people into the mindset for the day, whatever it might be. I think that'd be really cool.
Okay, so when I do a reading, usually is the first thing that I will do is I'll look at the client's astrological alignment, which is based on their birthday and their birth time, their birthplace. So with that chart, and then we will do the reading. So because everything starts from the time you were born, so it's almost like a foundation there. So if I can use an analogy, it's a little bit like you're planting a plant, basically. Let's say you're planting, I don't know, basil, something like that. The seed is your astrological chart. So what kind of seed you have in there. But it also depends on later what's your effort, your environment. Or did you grow up in a good environment? Did you water the plant every day? Did you fertilize it, or you just let it be? So it's a part of the natural, the root of yourself, and also it depends on your action and the effort that you're making. And so with the tarot, it's more talking about the current energy you're holding on to right now, you're carrying with you. And so we're looking at your room, looking at your current energy, and at the end, we'll go to the crystal. So we'll look at, okay, in order for us to improve certain areas based on the client's their request, and we'll see what kind of crystals they should carry with them, or maybe they should put in their room.
So how does it work? Like, do they carry it with them just anywhere close to them, or is it gotta be jewelry, or like on them? Or?
So it depends. So usually for there are certain times when we do need to actually carry, you gotta wear them, especially when you are doing certain things. For example, if you are trying to improve your office relationships, let's say you're in the office and you want to get along with everyone that you work with, because certain people, they have problems, right, with people they work with, power struggles and things like that. Then what you can do, you can wear that, or you can actually put something like like a raw stone actually on your desk. What the crystal will do is it has vibration, so a little bit like that, and so you're receiving the vibration actually from the crystal. And that's how that works. And it depends on what kind of crystal you carry. Of course, the functionality is different. Rose quartz is very good for relationship in general. Any type of human interaction. Rose quartz is very good for that. It brings harmony, basically. When it comes to dealing with people. Amethyst, this is a beautiful crystal, actually. So amethyst is of course. So amethyst is a very beautiful crystal, and it's very, very good for our third eye.
Third eye.
Third eye, So, for example, if you do yoga, you probably have heard of the center chakras in our body. The first chakra is at your tailbone, and the seventh chakra is on the top of your head. And so, what amethyst does is it opens your intuition. So this is the sixth chakra and the seventh chakra. Amethyst works with this part, so it connects you with your higher self. And so this is strengthen your intuition, your imagination, things like that.
My girlfriend talks a lot about this. So she does a lot of yoga and meditation.
Yeah.
And she's mentioned this before. And I'm like, oh damn, like you got a third eye.
Yeah, amethyst is very good for that actually. So that's why I have got a lot of amethyst here. This is an amethyst candle holder, but definitely this one is stronger. You can just by seeing the color, right? You can see this one.
If the color is stronger, does it mean the power is stronger as well, or how does that work?
Well, depends on the crystal again. Certain crystals they don't have colors, so then that you have to you really have to hold it and feel it, and that's why I really usually recommend that you don't buy crystals online because you can't touch it. So it's important that you go to a crystal store and maybe they have 10 pieces of amethyst there. You have to hold them in your hand and you have to feel good.
Okay.
And sometimes there are certain crystals when I hold them I don't feel anything. Then I know this is not for me. It does not mean it's bad crystal. It just means that my vibration and that piece of crystal's vibration don't go together.
Okay, got you.
Yeah. And this one, black tourmaline, is a black tourmaline candle actually. Yeah. So it has got black tourmaline in it. It's very beautiful. Yeah. Black tourmaline is definitely an energy shield.
Yeah.
So it blocks all the negative energies. Yeah. So for example, if you tend to, again, let's use a workplace. Yeah? If you feel that there are always people draining your energy there, it's very negative. They're very whiny. And nothing's good. never good enough. Then okay, I need a little bit black tourmaline.
Okay.
Yeah. Black tourmaline can actually work very very well. I remember I have a thought that's also black tourmaline. It's a big chunk.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
So this is for protection. It looks like amethyst, but it's not. It's called fluorite. Fluorite is very, very good for your spirituality, actually. So this is good for meditation. Also good for sleep. So usually what I recommend is people who lose sleep, they can actually put a piece of fluorite or amethyst also works, on your bedside table. It helps you, go to sleep.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for giving us a quick talk about the rocks behind you. We're gonna get into tarot reading next,
All right.
so I'm kind of interested and super excited about this. And just a quick disclaimer, guys. For me, I'm interested in it, but I haven't actually dived deep into it. Like I don't know how it can help me. I've always kind of thought maybe that it's just just reading a little bit and just understanding. So I'm super glad I've got Letao to be the one to do my very first reading.
All right.
Let's see how the universe kind of works with me today.
So maybe let's focus on you, Mason. Let's just get a very, very general reading. Let's look at the bigger picture of the next 6 months. Let's look at, because now we're in July. Well, let's just say until the end of this year.
Okay.
And let's see what's actually what's the guidance for you. From Mason first. Yourself. Okay. So you can pull any 3 cards from here. You can just pull them out and on top of each other.
Okay.
In front of you.
Alright. And I know this is like super random. I feel like it's kind of random, but I trust you, Letao.
Absolutely. Let's see.
Do this little guy.
3.
Hide in the back here.
3 for you.
We'll go this one here.
Okay. So the first card you pulled out is called 6 of Swords. Okay, I'm going to leave it in here. Okay, so we'll just go this way. 6 of Swords, you can see on the photo, is a man on the boat with a woman and with a child. And this card is talking about transition. Okay, so this card already tells me that at this moment you are going through a transition in your life. Okay, maybe switching from one stage to another stage, from one area to another area. Sometimes this card is just telling, in a good way, telling that you are definitely moving towards a more peaceful water in front of you. You're under the moon. Sometimes, because this is an evening photo, sometimes when we're going through transitions, we're not seeing everything yet. We're a little bit like, okay, I know that I'm moving, I'm changing, but I don't see exactly where it is yet. So this card tells you that it's okay, trust the moon. The moon is talking about your intuition. So as long as you feel, somehow I feel I'm being guided, and I feel that this is the right path for me, then let the boat carry you forward. Okay? Now the second card what we've got is very beautiful. It's called 3 of Cups. Now this card is talking about friendship and community. You can see on the photo 3 women there are saying cheers to each other, holding cups. 3 women dancing together. This is a beautiful card when it comes to community, friendships. Okay, meeting new people. So there's definitely a sense of connecting with the community, with the people around you. You're going to meet more people. You're going to sort of like form more relationships basically over the next 6 months. This card is very, very good for people. Wow, beautiful. Okay, and you end with a chariot. So now this card is about moving forward. You can tell a chariot is a vehicle. Yeah, it's a vehicle. It's, in the old times, you drive the chariot to the where? You wouldn't drive it to the market. You drive the chariot to
Through, like a parade or something.
exactly. So it's a very military thing.
Mm.
Yeah, it's you go on you're on the chariot. Either you are going to the war or you're coming back from the war.
Yeah,
It's a little bit like that. Yeah. So the chariot is about. You can see you have got two sphinx in front of you, and they're pulling the chariot forward, and you're the driver.
Mm.
And it's very interesting. You got the moon here again. See? You got
Mm.
the symbol of the moon. You got the moon in here. So the moon is telling you that again. It's telling me that you have very very strong intuition. So earlier when you said you're a psychic, you are. He is.
There you go, guys.
He
No,
is.
I'm just joking.
Yeah. And the chariot is telling you that keep moving forward.
Mm.
Now there's one advice in these three cards. Imagining if you're the driver, how do you think a driver can drive safely and successfully? Focus.
Yeah.
Okay, as a driver, you can't be, playing with my phone and then eating and then chatting with everyone and then you want to drive. That doesn't work. So this card also tells you that you are moving forward through meeting a lot of people, being in the right community, and then they will also, those people will also support you to move forward. But you need to focus on your goal. Driving a chariot is, for me, it's a little bit like you're going to the war, yeah? So you need to have very clear goal about, okay, I'm gonna go to the war, and I'm gonna kill the enemy, and I'm gonna come back alive. See, with that clear sense of goal there, you will be able to find your success. So you also have got, these two cards are very, very, very movement energy, yeah? Because this card, the Six of Swords is talking about you're on the boat, you're transitioning. The chariot is talking about you're on the ground, but you're also, you're moving. So this card tells me that there's a lot of development also happening at this moment in your life as well. So you're definitely on the right track. I don't really see any warnings here, but I do feel that you're almost like there are people supporting you, helping you, and of course you need to trust them more. That's also a thing, yeah. See, one of the things, Mason, I feel about you is sometimes you might have a lot of doubts about things. When things going too easy, you might feel, why is it so smooth? Why is it it's too smooth, right? It should be harder than this. But this just tells you that you're on the right path. You just need to trust yourself and move forward. That's it.
Awesome. Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
absolutely.
Thank you
Yeah.
so much.
Absolutely, yeah.
So guys, that was just a very simple reading, and you saw me. I pulled the cards completely just as I felt for Letao to be able to give me a reading based on what those cards meant. I thought that's super cool. Now, this might not apply to a very specific piece of your life. Like, this is a very general reading, and so I can take this away now and kind of apply this based off of the goals that I've had. And I didn't tell Letao anything about what my goals are in my life, my love, my fitness levels, but understanding that this broad spectrum can help me in different parts, I will now kind of take that away and say, okay, reevaluate some of the things that I've got, maybe like A to Z kind of goals. You got a lot of things going on, and it starts to reprioritize and say, okay, which ones do I want to go after first?
Yeah.
And then start paving that way through, and like the chariots, guiding myself with my friends.
Yeah.
I think this is a very crucial card to me, and I think you nailed it on the head, because over the last 2-3 years, I have a very tight circle of friends. We always hang out. We always support each other. I share a lot of my goals, some of the things that I want to need their help with, and that trusting part has been critical. Not a lot of people know, but in terms of relationship, my girlfriend's living abroad, and so she's been able to help me in enormous ways that maybe she doesn't even realize, but she's been able to be the cornerstone and help me and push me forward. And so I'm very thankful for this card to pop up, because you don't realize it, right?
Yeah, even with the first card, it's showing support. You see, this is a man driving a woman and his child across a river. So again, this also shows you are not alone. You have someone driving for you. Either you are the guy or you are these two people. It shows that you are not alone. When you're going through changes and transition, you've got people around you. That's
Super
what I
cool.
think. Charity sometimes is also talking about partnership as well, so working together with other people. You know, because we got two sphinx actually in here. They're a pair, black and white. Yeah, very good, very good.
Thank you so much, Letao, for your time. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Guys, if you want to know more about how you can start building up that mental aspect, it's not always just saying the same, I can do it, go stronger, go harder at the gym. Sometimes it's about reflection, just starting back at zero, understanding what your current situation is like, and then reevaluate and move forward. And I can't thank Letao more than enough. He's been in a lot of press here in Hong Kong. You got like TImeout Magazine, Liv Magazine, Localize. That's just to name a few, and he's got a whole wall full of just his articles and things like that. And for him to spare a little bit of time with me, I really thank you so much, Letao.
No, thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. I'll see you back in the gym.
Absolutely.
All right.